Alright my friends, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a fresh episode of Planet Zoo and of course our huge community build, Jamii Conservation Park. And my friends, you are currently looking on the screen at the brand new Reptarium. That was last episode my friends. I've linked it above for you right now. If you've not yet seen it, make sure you go watch it, go get caught up. We did a massive overhaul of the original Reptarium, and as a result of what's happening with the save, as a result of what's been happening with the save file, for the next few weeks, while I kind of just get back into this and make sure that when I am saving it is updating, I'm going to just be doing some small changes and updating of areas around the zoo, rather than doing a huge project and jumping into something really big and losing the work. So that's basically the plan going forward my friends. Today, as the title suggests, we are updating the South American area. Now it's not as big an overhaul as the Reptarium, but I think it was something that needed doing. I feel like my skills have come on a little bit and I felt like it was an area that definitely needed looking at. So my friends, on the screen right now, you're going to see some pictures of what the old, South American area looked like. I think it was still pretty nice. I still really like the area. I still think it's probably one of my best builds I've done to date, but the planting definitely needed a bit of an upgrade, and there were a few bits and bobs in certain habitats that I think needed sorting out. And so that, my friends, is exactly what I've done, and we're going to take a look at that right now. My friends, here you go. On the screen is South America. On the surface, not a lot looks as though it's changed, but I'm sure when I dive into it and I start showing you a few things, you'll definitely see some of the changes that have taken place. A big one, definitely the indoors of the tropical house, indoors of the anteater dark room, and the outdoor area on half of the Jaguar. Basically, time got the better of me this week and I haven't quite finished doing what I'm doing. I'm going to explain about the other part of the Jaguar habitat that I do want to upgrade, but it has been problematic and I'm going to explain it, and so it is why it is the way it is. Basically, that was a lot of is. But yeah, my friends, let me jump into this and show you what I have been doing. Do you know what? I'll take you to the outdoors over here first, because not a lot's happened over it. There wasn't many changes, because to be honest with you, this is the area I was probably happy with the most, where the South American tropical zone was concerned. Outdoors of the Capuchins has not changed one little bit. I just rearranged a few of the ropes, but other than that, it is as it was. I pulled this green up here a bit just to make this look a bit better, and I still need to put like some sort of guard at the top here. I need to create something that would stop the monkeys from basically jumping up there, but we do have these climbing guards and stuff on here already, so it just was something I didn't think was too necessary. But yeah, that's pretty much as it was, not changed at all. Really like it, and not a lot needed doing. Over here, I finished off this planter. We just added in some really big plants, really just to kind of take it all up, and from ground level I think it looks really nice, just to finish those planting pieces off, because I completely forgot about it, to be honest with you. Outdoors of the tapir has changed a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you, this was actually really bare. There wasn't a lot in here, and tapirs are actually a really shy animal and require quite a bit of like vegetation in their habitats and stuff, so I decided to put a bit more in. I've just added a nice a bush in the middle, added some heavy plants to near the water's edge, and I've added a beautiful willow tree as well in here, just to create some natural shade, especially to where this part of the habitat is concerned. I am aware that our guests can actually see in there, and that's kind of a backstage area, but there's not a lot I could do about it. We wanted that to still be pretty accessible, and so yeah, I do actually, although it's very subtle, do really like the changes. One of our tapirs is in having a swim, which is good to see. I think once this wall comes down and we get this fence across and I continue those trees along there, I'll be able to start decorating this water's edge a bit more as well, and then I think it'll really come together and create lots of shade and stuff like that. Nothing's changed in the inside of that house. I was really happy with it. Now we go over to the other side, where there have actually been some real drastic changes, and especially inside the Jaguar habitat. Now I'm going to throw it out there. I'm pretty happy with what I've done, but it has opened it up a lot, and I think that some people might be a bit questionable. They might have question marks over it, but I think these were changes that were definitely necessary and definitely needed to happen. Now, you will have seen in the images that this was very, very different. There used to be a huge rock here. At the back, there was rocks here in front of the door. There was a wooden fence that went all the way along. This climbing frame was kind of situated in a point where it was just so janky with the animals they couldn't use it properly. And so I ripped it all out. The only bit that survived was this. This was the only bit that survived, and the only reason it survived is because it is perfect to get them onto the catwalk. Had it not been for that catwalk, it probably would have got ripped out as well. They used to have a very small swimming area. Jaguars actually require a lot more swimming area, so I've supplied them with a pool, a bit more of a climbing frame. The door and the back's all been redone, all the planting's been done. So I will let you dive in and take a good look. So I always said I was going to add some sort of water feature, didn't I, to this rock face, because I think it needed it. Now, I did throw it in higher up. It looked awful, so I've thrown it in lower. I think it looks really, really nice. Creates a bit of movement when you press play. I'm not going to be pressing play today because obviously I don't want to move this on and lose money and that sort of stuff. So I have been having to do that. Time has been passing. I do want to say as well a huge shout out to John McLaughlin and Nightclive. Both come up with absolutely brilliant narratives that even Jamii couldn't avoid COVID. So, you know, that's the reason that we are going to go with that the zoo is shut at the moment. And, you know, wasn't something I thought of straight away, and I think it's just because I want to avoid the dreaded COVID conversation as much as possible. But it's a good narrative, basically, and it's a reason why, you know, the zoo may have been shut. I still think this needs a bit of finishing off. I want to add, you know, a few more sort of rocks around the edge of this pool because it is very concretey. I've put this one in as a bit of a sort of like a guess, basically. I wanted to see what it would look like. I'm going to use real rock outside, mainly because I don't want to rip all this out. And I don't think that the fake rock and the real rock actually complement each other too well in the sunshine. So for this, I'm just going to continue with the real rock, but I am probably going to bring it all the way around here and try to disguise this bit. I don't mind this bit here being on show, the concrete, but all around there, I'm going to continue, you know, maybe disguising it with the rock. The climbing frame has changed. They used to literally just have this small piece here, but I've created a higher piece as well with a nice ramp now, so they actually walk up it a bit better. It looks a bit cleaner when they're doing that. And then I went with some, you know, sort of fountain bamboo all around the edge. This actually has a footprint, so they can't walk through these. I didn't realise this when I was doing it because I actually put some in the middle and it reduced their walk room so much. So had to make sure I went with plants that would work properly. It's one of the reasons why I redid the tropical house as well, because that had the same. It had lots and lots of trees in there that had huge footprints, and the tapirs actually couldn't walk around that much. So it was a good thing that I took a look at this. But yeah, we've done all the edges. So basically what that's given me the ability to do is not have that wooden fence along the edge of this fence. And it looks a lot better. I've created a proper airlock, which I'll show you properly in a moment. And then we've got this rock here. And then just gone with some low-lying shrubs. So it still feels quite condensed with the vegetation, but open enough that our guests are probably going to get a lot better views of the jaguar when they are over this side. Really, really love it. Trees, a lot of the trees were ripped out, and instead they now go along the edge over here. Got this one here. Added in a proper gate for access for the animals in and out. You will have seen this gate many a time over in the wolf and the bear habitat. I thought that it would be perfect to have over here, and actually makes this little section now make a bit more sense. I'm sure you would all agree. So yeah, actually looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Cole, he's having a nice stroll. That rhymed, and I did not intend it to. He's probably going to go up and over, my friends. The other bit I've done as well is I've created a proper airlock door now. Makes a lot more sense. This is something that zoos do. I think it looks all right. These pieces are becoming some of my favourites to work with. Very, very easy to manipulate in all different ways. But yeah, do let me know what you make of the brand new outdoor jaguar habitat. Now, obviously, it does still go over, across, down, and over here, my friends. Now, I think this side needs redoing as well. I'm not that happy with it. I think it's quite ugly. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I first built the Jaguar habitat, this side was very, very rushed because I was up against it. I was, a bit short on time. And it's something I've never gone back and looked at. I don't like this piece of fence here. I just think it's pointless. It's ugly. And it doesn't look as though this was well thought out. Now, the trouble I've got is this doorway is very, very large compared to the other one. But if I try to do something similar to this end, all of the inside of downstairs becomes accessible for the Jaguars. I have no idea why it does this, but it does. So the doorway is actually a bit of an issue over here. So what I'm planning on doing at some point is I'm going to get rid of all these rocks, going to get rid of them all, and I might extend this building out. So the door would actually be out here. So I'm going to extend the building a bit further out. And what I'm going to do is bring the building flush this way. We'll have a higher wall here. And it'll make it look as if there was a little section that was built on over here. And then we'll have the doorway. So this doorway would actually be here. And I'll be able to make the doorway a bit smaller. And then they'll walk straight down. I think I just need to have a bit of space between the door and the building for it to work. So that's what I'm going to do at some point. And then I'm going to redesign all of this walkway down and all of this part of the habitat, because to be honest with you, now that I look at the other side, a side that I've taken time on, I'm not a big fan of this one. I still like the indoor part of the habitat. I love the fact the doors and everything are all in place, all working, but I think we need to do a bit of a better job over this side, my friends. But that's the Jaguars. Do let me know what you think. Now, we're going to dive inside the tropical house. I'm going to show you a few of the changes that have been made. Now, inside this room, not a lot has happened. I'm going to be honest with you, not a lot of changes have taken place at all. I've just put this trim around the edge just to add a bit more detail to the floor. I was going to tile the floor, decided against it. I wanted to have a change from this part of the building to the next part, so I decided against it. Instead I went with this trim around the edge as well. I've added some more lights over here, some speakers. I added a camera up here, another fire extinguisher. Just wanted to make this a bit more realistic and a bit more so it flowed a bit more. I was contemplating writing above this, can you see the Jaguar? But the writing's actually a bit too big, and it didn't look too good. It looked a bit tacky, so decided against it, and I rejigged this to make it look a bit better. But yeah, not a lot has happened in this room. It's the next room where there's been a lot of changes. Prepare for colour changes, tiling, because it's become a favourite thing of mine, a favourite pastime. The vegetation's changed, and the tapir pool is changed a lot, my friends. So as we go inside, first and foremost, you're going to notice the wood. I've changed the colour. That mustardy yellow did not sit right with me for some reason when I was doing this. The more I looked at it, the more I didn't like it. So I've gone with this this sort of very dark coffee brown colour that I found online, and I really like it. I think it works quite well. The viewing gallery needs to go probably an iota that way, but other than that, we now have viewing gallery on the wall, so people know that's up there. I have used this piece of trim here just to disguise an ugly piece, because the floor is not great there. So I've just used it here. I will say there are still a couple of things I would like to add in here that I haven't done so yet, because I need to make them. And like I say, time has not been something I've had lots of this week. So I've just kind of had to wing it and go with it the best that I could, basically. But I still think you're going to be pretty happy with the job that's been done. The first thing that's probably going to be very noticeable to you all is that of the floor. Tile. It's just tiled everywhere, but it adds, definitely adds. I've put all the lights in now. That was really, really important to get that done in here. So all the lights are done. As we turn this corner, you're going to notice some changes in here as well. This wall used to be white. I've changed that colour to, you know, just something a bit different, just to bring it a bit to life, because the floor and the wall, they blended into one another, and I didn't like it. This floor is a lot lighter in here. You will remember remember, it was a dark grey, and lots of you didn't like that grey floor. And to be honest with you, now that I've done this, I can see why you didn't like it. You're all a lot wiser than I give you credit for, I think, sometimes. You come around this way. Now, there used to be these like exhibit boxes here. They were so big and I really, really didn't like them. And the chairs have now been moved and changed. So these chairs were always here, but what I've done is I've added a planter back on them, added some plants in, a lot more green. Guests can sit here, and then there's just this in the middle. But what I am going to do is I'm going to make like a South American map type thing with, some education on the side. And then I'm going to move this over here basically to take up the room on the walls elsewhere. All the lights, again, they're all in. I've finished all of the ropes and all of the bottoms off as well, just to give it that professional finish. But yeah, I do think this looks a lot better. Obviously, you see the images before. Feel free to go back and make comparisons, and you'll be able to see basically I'm in love with this colour, and especially against this colour here. Come round this way, not a lot's changed around here. It's obviously you go out to the exit, and then you've got all these bits and bobs basically. So let me take you up to the viewing gallery. I want to kind of take you up as if you were a patron and a guest, so you can get a real feel for it. So I haven't changed the colour scheme on the wall. I've changed the stairs. I've actually got them all done and put in properly now, so they look a lot better. First things first, you're going to see is this palm hanging over the stairs. I wanted guests to get that feel of being in the rainforest straight away. We didn't used to have that there. So yeah, the walls haven't changed. They're all the same. But as I swing around, you're going to see that the vegetation has changed quite a lot inside here. Before, all of the big trees were palms, but that's not the case in South America. You have Brazil nut trees, you have, huge, trees in, places like the Amazon and stuff. So I wanted to change it up to represent that. So we do still have some palms and whatnot in here, but we also have some other types of trees as well. I just wanted to change it up and open it up a bit as well so that people could see the animals a bit more. Yes, I understand that, rainforests are very, very dense, especially where the vegetation is concerned. But this is a zoo at the end of the day, and people don't go to zoos to look at plants, they go to look at the animals. So I just wanted to open it up a bit more so the animals are a bit easier for our guests and patrons to see. One thing I am going to say, though, is I've rejigged all of the climbing frames for the capuchins, and as a result they spend far more time indoors than they do outdoors now. So it was, I don't know, to some extent it looks better, but it's problematic because the capuchins don't really go outside anymore. But I'm sure when their numbers grow and they flourish, they might start doing so a bit more. But yeah, you will see there are lots of open spaces. Now, the way I've designed the vegetation is to make it look as though our tapirs have crafted their own natural pathways. So as you can see these paths. If I go down here, you'll see it a bit better. So you'll see like the pathways. They are almost like representative of the way they walk. And I've not obviously put any plants down here because it would be very difficult for plants to grow with the lack of light and whatnot. So this is like a very natural pathway. I finished this bit off as well. This was an area that hadn't been finished off. I kind of want to put like a fake door here, if I can, and then we could have all of our stuff stored that they use to clean and whatnot in here, because the animals don't go up there anyway. And so yeah, from ground level, it looks very, very different to how it does higher up. As you can see, huge rejig on the Capuchin's climbing frames. This now goes coast to coast, wall to wall. Lots of pieces to climb on. The trees work their way around them as well. So they will go from climbing frames straight onto a tree because of the way it's all been planted and placed. Makes it look as though it's all part of the same. And then a lot of their food enrichment items have all been added to the climbing frames now to look a bit more professional. But as you can see, look, you can see the natural pathways, being sculpted through. A tapir's walk through here. As you can see, another one of those enrichment items as part of the climbing frame. It's just a lot tidier and it's been done a lot more like professionally, I guess you could say. I did take a look at lots of zoos and what they would do, and it is this sort of stuff. Another tree, and as you can see, it's all sort of moulded. The trees all grown around sort of the climbing frame and whatnot. And yeah, just absolutely in love with it now, ladies and gents. I'm like finally happy with the internal workings of the tropical house, basically. The big change, because we now have the beautiful fake rock, is that of the tapir pool. It has a little waterfall now, everyone, as you can see, like a little drop-off waterfall part there. Steps in, and yeah, I just think it looks so much nicer. Like, it actually feels like it's supposed to be there now. And I like the way that we've been able to plant, around it as well. One of the tapirs obviously already in, having a nice little swim, which is good to see. But yeah, it feels so much better now. Like, it actually feels really cool. From this angle here, it's probably going to look pretty sweet as well, looking at that. And if you were up on the gallery, you are up here looking down. I've left it so that it's quite open with the vegetation, so you can get a good look at the little waterfall and the pool with the tapirs in it. Basically, I just feel like this build deserved this room to look better than it did. It was a bit clunky. It didn't really make a lot of sense. I feel like when you look along the room, I think the vegetation from a height perspective feels a lot better. The different types of high growing vegetation looks better, and then if you look at the bottom, it may look really empty, but it looks as though natural pathways have been carved by the tapirs in the habitat. And then obviously the pieces that need to be left, like along the viewing sections, along the gate for the animals to go in and out, and along here. It works really cool. The other nice thing about this is that the capuchins climb all the way up here as well, and it's some really cool views of the animals all messing around and climbing about and whatnot. And I just think it looks sweet now. I just absolutely love it. All of this needed to be reworked because obviously we reworked the pool, so this now goes here. There's a lot more sturdy support, and then this goes up to this, which is actually in part of the walkway part, and then across, and then they can go out basically. But they can still get outside. They just choose not to be honest with you. It's one of those things. This is all still the same. Not much has changed here. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I think it looks really cool now. I'm finally happy with the inside, but you know what? The people that need to be happy are you guys. So do let me know what you make of my rework of the internal part of the tropical house. Now, there's only one more piece I need to show you, and it's another part that's had a huge rework, and it is that of the anteater's internal house. Basically, outdoors still looks exactly the same. I've not changed it. I'm really happy with the outdoors. At the end of the day, we've got those protective rock wall. We've got their pool that they need for pooping. Basically, apparently they need water to clean themselves and for when they poop and whatnot. So they've still got all that. None of that's changed, but the inside of this building has changed a lot. So let me show you, ladies and gentlemen, what I've been up to. So inside here, nothing has really changed yet. Now, the problem I've got with this room, because it's a dark house, it's difficult to put education and things on the wall because of the way it'd be lit up. So it's quite hard, and I'm still not sure what to put on this wall. I might just write, dark house, and I'll dedicate it to one of our viewers, basically. Maybe I'll do that. If you are one of the OGs, if you are one of those people that constantly kind of gets involved with the series, and you'd like the Anteater Dark House named after you, maybe let me know, and I'll happily write it on this wall. Maybe that's the best way we can serve that purpose. But this is what I've reworked, and again, it's a massive change. I ripped out the entire internal part of this building. The floor, the vegetation, I reworked all of the hills, so it is actually lower where we are now than it is at the back, because I wanted to get that natural gradient for it to come down lower. Again, I've tried to do the planting so it looks as though the anteaters have, basically been cutting pathways through the vegetation and whatnot. I've actually opened it up a lot more at the front than it was before, because obviously we want our guests to be able to see the animals, and in a dark room it's going to be lit in a particular way. I will show you what this looks like when obviously the lights are down and it would be working as it should. But yeah, it's had a massive rework, this building, and I think it needed it. The only two parts that survived were the trees. They're in exactly the same position. Didn't move them because I absolutely loved the way they looked. But everything else has changed. Now I've gone with the fake rock in here because it made more sense to go with the fake rock. I basically used it to help with the deviation in the terrain and whatnot. And I think, you know, it was a good way to have the vegetation growing in certain places. Their sleep spots have been changed. So we've got one at the back, one here. I just moved this enrichment item over a tiny bit, so it sits under the tree now. And then you come up this way, and obviously more rocks at the back. A lot more vegetation, and there's actually so much more room for them to walk around in here now. Before, and because this is the trouble with me, I just picked the plants I like and that I think would go in. I was placing plants all over the place and was not thinking about that plant's footprint, and so actually before, the anteaters couldn't move around that much in here, but now a lot of these plants that I've used don't have a footprint, so they can actually pass through them. So it's 100% sort of able to, you know, they've got the ability to walk. It's just the rocks and these larger trees that have a footprint that stops them. So it's a lot more, it makes a lot more sense. And then at the back, we've actually got a proper piece here where, where it comes into it. And then I put these in. Believe it or not, lots of places like this, like tropical houses and dark rooms that have got rich vegetation that are heavily watered and have misters and things like that going, actually have their own sort of drainage systems in place. And so that's what I've done there. I've just put the drains in as a couple of drainage systems for the habitat, and I think it just added a little something towards the back that's a bit more realistic, and you don't really see it from the guest viewing area. So it worked out beautifully, my friends. Now, I do just want to show you this, how it should look when it is in darkroom mode, just so you can get a feel for it. And I'm sure we can all agree it looks a lot nicer. A lot nicer. There is a white light here. I'm not sure, but I think it's coming from this room. I think it's coming from these. I might turn these into red lights, these ones out here. But I think it's just coming from that. So there is a slight white light there. But yeah, that is the Anteater's dark room, and I think that is a far better looking dark room and a huge improvement on what we already had. And I'm sure you can all appreciate where my time's gone this week, planting. As per usual, it's gone to planting, ladies and gents. But it was stuff that needed doing, and it needed changing. I even put red lights in here as well. For that transition, so it makes more sense, and yeah, it looks pretty cool from every angle. It looks pretty cool. So that is pretty much South America done and adustido. I don't think much more needs doing in South America. Obviously, as I've already said, I am probably going to rip this out and redo this because I do think that needs doing. I'm probably going to go with very high sort of fountain bamboo all on the edges to disguise that. This piece here I might leave open and actually put a gate in here, so it's another access gate, because it's not something that would be uncommon in a zoo. Obviously, we've got this piece that is a bit higher up. I'm sure we could level all that out, so it made more sense. And yeah, rip all this out and get all that done. Oh, something else as well. People have been asking me to put guard barriers in. Finally got around to doing it. As you will see, I put them in over here as well. So finally got around to doing that as well. Just adds to that realism, adds to the stuff that's needed. And yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with it. I just hope you guys are. So yeah, do let me know what you make of it, my friends. I don't think there's much more I need to show you. All the planting kind of got finished off. Even over here, did all the planting over here. Just added in some like more richness and whatnot. A bit more green. But yeah, as far as next time is concerned, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I don't need to do any animal management with you today, so I'm not going to be looking at that. But one thing I did do was I sorted out the lemur population. That's actually gravy now. But since they patched the game, now there was a patch I believe this week, since they patched the game, it's given the lemurs an ability to somehow access this from the inside, and they can now climb and escape. And the other thing as well is they're walking through, all animals are just walking through walls. So they've patched some things, and with a patch they've broken something else. The grizzly bear, for instance, can just walk through that wall. Shouldn't be able to. I thought it was the wood, because I removed all the wood on this side of the wall. I thought it was the wood. It's not. They just walk straight through the wall. So whatever Frontier's done, they need to take a look at that. But yeah, it's just unfortunately at the moment with this game, they'll fix one thing and then something else breaks. And I think it just shows you just how much the Aquatic Pack changed the game mechanics, because it's just these things are what we're having to deal with at the moment. So yeah, do let me know what you make of the tropical area, the South American area. All your feedback is very much appreciated. If there's anything else you think needs adding or whatnot, feel free to leave that in the comment section below. As far as next episode's concerned, obviously I want to continue just sort of updating and upgrading the zoo. I do feel like potentially the backstage areas need a little bit of work, but if not the backstage, I might come over here and build that toilet block, get all of this planting and whatnot finished off over here, and maybe do a little bit of work sort of at the back up here, and in here potentially, because that does need doing. It wouldn't be a huge project like a little toilet block and whatnot, so I might do that. But other than that, I'm not sure. One thing I was considering reworking was the Gemsbok habitat. I was actually considering replacing a majority of the green with sand, ripping out a lot of the plants, because I was heavily criticised at the beginning anyway for the Gemsbok habitat, that there was far too many plants and the plants would get eaten. So I might rip out a lot of the plants, leave the rock, go with the tree, and go with the higher vegetation, but then replace the majority with sand to make it a bit more natural and how they would have it. Lots of zoos would do this. You do see it heavy, where they just come in with that heavy sort of mulch and sand mix, and they just coat a habitat in it. So I might do that with the Gemsbok. I think it might make sense, and it wouldn't be a lot of work. The camels don't need changing. But yeah, there's not much more I can do. There's a few people's names I am going to be putting on the walls. Combat Wombat, I think you're not on there, and you deserve to go on there. Yeah, not on that one. I think you do deserve to go on there. You comment a lot in the comment section. There were a few others that I think deserve to go on here. So yeah, there's lots of people there. But yeah, I do think there's a few names that deserve to go on. So I will be doing that as well. But yeah, other than that, I'm not sure. Unless there's anything you guys can think of that I need to maybe do, leave it in the comment section below and I'll do it, basically. But yeah, I'm done. I'm off skis. I am out. Hope you enjoyed today's episode, my friends. Obviously, keep your comments coming in. Keep liking the video. Keep subscribing. Keep watching. I haven't put the other series to bed, by the way, just because Jamii's been dominating the channel when I said I was going to take a break. I'm working on Jamii because the save is working, and you know, at the end of the day, this is the main save where Planet Zoo is concerned. But there is a brand new zoo being built as I speak, and that's going to be something that's going to potentially go up on the channel once a week. And I am going to be doing Yukon Bay, but Yukon Bay is delayed indefinitely until I can get the right amount of source material. If anyone has any source material from Yukon Bay in Hanover Zoo of the internal workings of the underwater viewing sections, that would be amazing, because without those, can't really complete the build. But my friends, as I say, I'm off. Like, share, subscribe, especially if you're new. Check out the description box below as well. You'll find stuff in there like the Discord, where you can become a heavier part of the community. But until next time, my friends, stay humble, stay safe, and I will see you next time.